Okay, so we're going to start this class with a downward facing dog. If you don't know what that is, essentially we're going to plant both palms about shoulder width distance apart. Then we'll slowly come over onto all fours. Now tuck those toes under and then pushing up into the booty. So sending it back in space, straightening the legs as much as possible. It's okay if you have quite a bend in both knees. It's also okay if your heels don't connect with the mat. Just do the best you can. And then bend one knee, then the other. Walking the dog, as they say. Just dropping into this practice, slowing down the breath, moving mindfully, making these transitions as important as the long holds themselves. Now coming back to center, so grounding both heels as much as possible. And then we're going to float the right leg up in space, draw it up. And then on the exhale, bring the leg through and plant that right foot sort of around the shoulder line. So you'll be in a lunge. And then we're going to toe heel that foot over to the left. We're going to go into swan pose. So very slowly, just allow the pelvis to drop down onto the mat. Keeping those left toes hooked under, because we want to make sure we've set this alignment up first. So you want your pelvis in one line, facing forward. And if that's a bit of a struggle for you, grab your cushion or block or something and pop it under that right hip. And that elevation might help. And then pick up the left knee and then just shoot that leg back a little bit more and then uncurl those toes. Just check the hips again, making sure they're still in one line, facing forward. Setting it up. Now the foot, it can be nice and close to the body, which is generally a little bit of a lighter stretch. If you're wanting to intensify things, you can just draw that foot forward. No further than like a 90-degree angle. You want it no further than parallel to the short edge of the mat. And you want that pelvis still in alignment. So with the previous alignment I explained. So take a big inhale, just grounding in. And then on the exhale, slowly walking yourself forward. So this might be as far down as you come with the arms straight, elbows locked or somewhat locked. You could also grab your cushions or bolsters and lay them out in front. Maybe come a little further down, perhaps onto the elbows. Now for those that have the flexibility, you could fold the arms and just rest the forehead down on the forearms, or you could extend the arms entirely in front with the palms faced up. And deeper still, you could ground the forehead onto the mat and place those arms back behind you with the palms up. So settling into a variation that feels good for you. Remembering that we're here for about 3 minutes, so you don't have to go into the deepest pose straight away. Just making sure those shoulders are down and that you're not holding any unnecessary tension through the forehead or the jaw. Perhaps you could even make your way down into that right hip and quad. See if you can soften that area a little more. Just slowly working with gravity to take you deeper into the stretch. So we're here for about another minute. So if you want to remove your props, if your body is allowing you to go a little deeper, now might be a nice time to do so. Okay, so we're coming out of swan pose. So turning those hands over and planting the palms. Just moving slowly, just edging yourself back upright. We'll just take a second. So an inhale. And then open the eyes on the exhale. And pushing in to the mat with both hands and drawing yourself over onto that right hip. So don't move from here because we're actually going to go into the next pose, which is an internal rotation of that left leg. It's called deer pose. So we're going to set it up with the right, so the shin, calf, you want it parallel to the short edge of the mat. So a little flex in that right foot, and then drawing this left leg forward, so you want it sort of the same, parallel to the short edge, and about a right angle in both legs. So now let's just start by setting it up. So we're sitting up, right? So if you're wanting to extend on from that, just coming down, backwards I should say, onto the arms. The most important thing is to keep this left knee connecting with the mat at all times. Also the right knee. So if you're struggling, if it's starting to lift up, then come back up a little. If you're wanting to go further, you'll walk yourself back more, and perhaps even coming onto the elbows. And that will really intensify this stretch. And then further still, you can come all the way down onto your back. But only do so if you can keep that connection with that left knee. So choose the right variation for you. And then settling in. Taking nice, slow, deep breaths. Seeing where you can let go. Even if you're a little tense through that hip and inner thigh area, you can maybe start to soften the feet, maybe the left hip, even the fibers in the calf. Sometimes working on areas surrounding where you're feeling the stretch can help you to finally let go. couple more breaths into your pose. Okay, so pushing through the hands and drawing yourself back up, and pushing once more, and drag that left leg, rotate it out. Maybe do a little bend or two. Just get the blood going. Now we're going to extend the right leg out in front and go into half shoelace. So you want a little flex in that right foot. You could potentially, if you struggle with forward folds, put a cushion or something underneath the sit bones to get a little bit of elevation. Now we're going to bring that left leg over the right. So as much as possible, aligning these knees, having them stacked. You also want a little flex in that left foot as well. Now if you're struggling with getting that alignment, you could put this prop in between the knees, which helps. You could also rest it on top of that left leg so you can fold down over onto it. And we'll set the pose up by taking an inhale, stretching up, and then on the exhale we'll just walk ourselves forward, and then coming to that place of resistance and settling in. We'll be here for about 2.5 minutes. So it can be quite an intense stretch, and the mind can start to get quite active. So perhaps you could come back to the breath if that is the case with you, focusing instead on the inhales and the exhales. The mind often struggles to do both. So while you're focused on sending the breath down into the stretch, while you're feeling into the body, the mind often can't focus on the past and the future. So connecting those palms with the ground, and then edging yourself back upright. Very slowly, just bringing that left leg off the right, and we'll just take a couple of windshield wipers, so feet wider than hip width distance apart, hands planted behind, and just let those knees rock to either side. And then coming back to center, Okay, so now we'll go and do the other side. So planting those palms down again, coming onto all fours, tucking the toes under, and then pushing yourself back up into downward facing dog. Try and ground those heels as much as possible and push right into the sit bones. And then we'll just walk the dog again and just use this time to let go of whatever happened in the last few stretches. That deer pose can really go against what we're used to. We don't often do internal rotation, so letting go of it, coming back to the present moment. We'll take a big inhale and then exhale, dropping back in, getting ready for the other side. So inhale, this time the left leg goes up in space, and then exhale, draw it through, plant it up around the area of the hands, and then toe heel that foot over to the right. And we're coming down into swan. So dropping the pelvis until it meets the mat or thereabouts. Line up the hips, have them facing forward. Then pick up that right knee and then push your leg back just a little further. And then untuck those toes. Pop the props in place if you need one under the left hip. Do so. If you want to move that foot forward, just getting everything lined up. And we'll take a big inhale. And then exhale, just slowly walking yourself forward into the pose. Coming to a place that feels right for you. And settling in for the next 3 minutes. And we'll turn those hands over, connecting the palms with the mat, and then using some muscle strength just to gradually walk yourself back upright. Just take an inhale here, and exhale. And then pushing down with the arms, drawing yourself over onto this left hip. And we're going to go into deer pose on this side. So the left leg, you want to first line that up. So you want that shin, the lower half of the leg, parallel to the short edge of the mat. Get that little flex going in the foot. And then draw the right knee up so that quad is parallel with the short edge of the mat as well. And then try to ground down as much as possible that right hip. Place that right leg at about a 90-degree angle. Get that flex going in the foot as well. And then slowly lowering back, either up on the arms or down on the elbows or lying flat. Once again, making sure that those prominences are all connecting with the earth. Taking nice, deep, slow breaths. Letting the body start to unfurl and let go. About another minute in deer pose. So just see if your body allows for any changes. Okay, now if you're all the way down, just come up onto the elbows and then up onto the arms. And then we'll just push in through the mat once again, just lifting yourself up a little bit and then drawing that right leg through. Take any movements that you need just to get the blood flowing. And then we're going to go into shoelace, half shoelace on the other side. So pulling the sit bones out, picking up the right leg this time, drawing it over the left. If you do need to prop yourself up, do so. If you need to put any cushions in place, trying as best as you can to stack those knees. Just that little flex in the left foot. Take a big inhale, stretching up. And then on the exhale, walking yourself forward and down until you feel a nice good stretch down the back of that left leg, maybe in the hip. Remembering not to go past your edge. We want to be able to soften and relax and let go in this stretch. Okay, we're going to turn those hands over and just slowly working your way back up. And then lift that right leg off the left, and we'll just do a couple more rounds of windscreen wipers. So letting those knees drop from side to side. And then coming back to center. So we're going to finish up butterfly. So this is great for the inner thigh, hip area. So if you do need to put anything once again underneath the sit bones to get a little bit of elevation, do so. You want to bring the feet together so that they're touching, and you really can draw the feet in as close as you want, or you can also have them quite far away. Depending on your body, that's a little bit jarring on my knees, so I like them a little bit closer. If you want to pop a couple of cushions under the knees, you can do so, or something, whatever you've got lying around. You can also lay a bolster or a couple of cushions out in front. And we'll take our inhale, stretching up, and exhale, slowly lowering down, letting the spine curve, working with gravity to go into this pose, Placing the palms up just to take away that desire to use muscle strength. Settling in for about 3 minutes. Just a few more seconds, so take a couple more breaths and see if you can go a little deeper into the pose. And then slowly coming out. So crawling your way back up. And then we're going to come over onto our back. Just, you could keep your eyes closed just as you slowly make the transition. Very gradually. Coming down. And then stretching right up into the fingertips and the toes, a full body stretch, a big inhale. And then exhale, letting those arms fall to both sides of the body, the palms faced up. Just let the shoulders and the hips and the heels start to sink into the mat. Now I suggest staying in Shavasana for at least 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to leave you here. Thank you so much for joining me. Feel free to like, subscribe, ring that bell. Also share. From me to you, much peace and love. Namaste.